Good morning and welcome back to another look at a tarot spread. This month we are continuing with an exploration of 365 tarot spreads, and the spread that we are looking at this month is the Qualities of Jupiter spread, which in the book is the December 7th tarot spread, which is the one that we are going to be looking at for this month. Now, last week I did the spread from the book, so I will put the link to that video in the bottom if you want to go and see what the spread has to say for us. Today we're going to be looking at the spread itself and looking at the strengths and some of the things that you might want to change if you were going to take this spread and make it yours, and to be able to kind of use it as a way to get guidance and clarity for things that feel more in alignment with you. Because one of the things that I really hope to accomplish with this is giving people the confidence to know that they can take a spread that's pre-created and tweak it, edit it, alter it, and that means rephrase the questions, drop some of the positions out, add some positions of your own, whatever it is that's going to give you the most out of your readings. Now, the spread that we had, as I said, is called the Qualities of Jupiter spread. And basically the inspiration for the spread, according to the book, is that the unmanned Galileo spacecraft went into orbit around Jupiter on this day in 1995. So Jupiter is the planet of luck, inspiration, and the right path. It is named for the Roman king of the gods, night sky, and thunder. And so, you're looking at 30 years that unmanned Galileo spacecraft has been kind of orbiting Jupiter. Now, whether it is still there or whether it's deteriorated and fallen into Jupiter, I have no idea. It would be something that would be interesting to look up. However, to know that Jupiter is connected to us on an astrological sense as the planet of expansion. It is the planet of our blessings and where we get all of the kind of the good things in life come from. So depending on where Jupiter also lands, either in your human design chart or in your astrological chart or any type of astrological system that you follow, it's where all of the blessings and everything of your life can come from. So that's another exploration all on its own. The summation of the spread, according to Sasha Graham, is the Qualities of Jupiter spread contains questions based on the astrological associations of the planet Jupiter. Using these associations, questions are posed to offer greater clarity in life. So it's similar to, if you watched it, the reading that she did based on kisses and the different sayings that we have around kisses. And so it's interesting when you kind of use that as the foundation for a spread to look at something and say, okay, well, I'm going to take the correspondences that go with whatever it is that you're using as the basis for your spread. So if you do a solstice spread, for instance, or an equinox spread or a holiday spread, you can take the correspondences from that day and then connect it to a question around what you want to know based on what that symbol kind of can represent. And so it's a very interesting way to look at it, because when you're using correspondences to an idea, a concept, there's a lot that you can go from. So it gives you quite the opportunity for variability in the spreads, because if you're using something like, say, Jupiter here, she's got 8 different ones that she's used. But if you do a search for correspondences for Jupiter, you'll probably come up with a lot more and be able to really kind of have that one spread be useful for multiple different ways that you can move things around and tweak things up. So yeah, I think that that's kind of interesting. A couple other things that she has in the book. She says that Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system, 318 times bigger than the Earth, and contains 66 orbiting moons. Its powerful magnetic field means stepping foot upon the planet would make you weigh 2.5 times what you weigh on Earth. So I'm going to stick to what I weigh now, because I would hate to think that I would end up weighing 66 times. Not 66, 2.5 times more than what I weigh. But the other thing, again, going back to correspondences, right? So if it has 66 orbiting moons and each one has a different name to it, you could even use some of those names, because a lot of times the names of things in our solar system are named from mythology, right? And so it'd be very interesting to even use some of those ideas in order to come up with a variation of this spread. The card that is connected to this is the Wheel of Fortune. So it says, like Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune card remains in constant motion. Appearing in spreads, it represents new opportunities, possibilities, and a turning point where life has, as you know it, is going to begin to change. For me, the Wheel of Fortune also is an indication, depending on where it lands in the spread, of being stuck in ruts and being unable to move forward. I always like to connect the imagery that I have of the Wheel of Fortune to clockwork. And if everything is moving smoothly, then the clockwork is going. But if something is gumming up the system, or if you get something jammed or a cog breaks, then everything kind of breaks down. So some very good imagery to have. And as I said, like if you're building based on imagery, if you're building based on connections and correspondences, a lot of things in there that you can use. The cards that she has, as I said already, there's 8 of them in there, and she has it set up so that the first card goes in the center, and then you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so that it kind of circles around. Which is interesting, because to me that would be more like an idea of like a Saturn reading, right? Where you have like the planet in the middle and then all of the asteroids and everything that make the ring around Saturn. So interesting. Cast in the shape of a wheel, so connecting to the Wheel of Fortune card, it places the your fortune at the very center. And so the middle card is supposed to be, I guess, you and what you're drawing through. Also, if it's connecting to a wheel, then you can think of each one with a cog connecting to it. So if you're in the center, then everything that connects out to it becomes a different way to connect to that main idea of a fortune. Now, the 8 cards that she has correspond to, so the first one is corresponding to good fortune, which is the main idea that connects to Jupiter. And the question that she asked is, what is my fortune? I will say this, for this reading, the problem that I had with most of the questions was just kind of like just a directness to them, a lack of ability to be open-ended and to kind of really interpret and to give it almost like a conclusive ending, right? So what is my fortune? You flip over the card, and whatever the card says, that's what your fortune is. There's no ability to flow, right? And to me, Jupiter, and when you look at blessings and stuff like that, there should be this ability to be in some kind of flow, to be able to change and to adapt instead of just saying this is it, right? And so if I was going to be doing this, which I probably will be in my variations coming next week, one of the ways that I would change this is using the idea of good fortune. It would be, what are some things that I can do to tap into my good fortune? What is my connection to fortune? And when you're looking at fortune as well, because it's not in the rest of them, you could also look at it as abundance, right? Because you can ask questions based on, how do I connect to my abundance? What am I here to learn about abundance? It all depends on what you put mostly as the main question as you're shuffling the cards. The next one is good health. And again, what keeps me healthy? I would say, for me, having an action-based question is also very, very important, right? So what keeps me healthy? It's implying that, like, so it's something that I'm already doing, right? So what do I do that keeps me healthy? I would tweak the question to be like, what are some things that I can do to increase my health? What are some things I need to know about my health? Where is the and if you want to kind of keep this idea of good fortune and abundance, like what actions are the most abundant for my health, right? So different ways that you can put it, but you're looking at putting it in as, what is something that I need to be aware of about my health is really what you want to know. And what is an action I can take to increase my health? And sometimes the actions, like when you put it that way, sometimes the action is something to decrease, right? Like, so it's just very proactive, I think, is the way I like to design the spreads that I use. The next one is faith. So what do I have faith in? And this is my little pet peeve. Like when you have questions that are asking you about what you believe or what is important to you, I always think, you don't need the cards to tell you that. You already know what you have faith in. You already know what you believe in. And again, going back to what I just said, it's important to be able to be actively engaging in the reading instead of just sitting back and going, okay, you need to tell me everything, and then I'll just kind of nod my head and go about my day, right? It's the same reason why, when I do a tarot reading, I really engage the person that I'm reading for, because it's important that it's relevant to them. And so I would take this question and say, what is it that I need to know about my faith? What might be blocking me from having faith? What can I do to open up a relationship to faith, right? A lot of things like that, where it gives you time to reflect. It gives you something to reflect upon instead of just, yes, this is what it is. The next one was loyalty, and who is loyal to me? We've had questions like this come up in the past in other spreads that she's created. And again, this is something that it's just irritating to me, because when you're asking who is loyal to me, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter externally who is loyal to you. It's how you present yourself. Are you in integrity? Are you authentic? Are you doing the things? Because if you're doing that, then if somebody in your life isn't loyal to you, then it doesn't matter. You'll already know. You already feel who's loyal and who's not, right? And so when you're looking at loyalty, you're looking at building yourself up from the inside out. And so, what is my understanding of loyalty? What is it that I need to know about loyalty? I might actually just take this one out altogether, because loyalty to me with Jupiter, I don't necessarily feel that connection myself. So again, it's very all right for you to take positions out, to take questions out. This would be a time where if you were doing a research on correspondences for Jupiter, you might swap something out and put something else in there instead. Then we have justice as the fifth card. And the question asked is, how am I fair? And again, I'm asking for a direct answer. I'm not opening up to exploration. I'm not opening up for things that I can do, right? You could easily change this to, how can I be more fair? Am I being fair with myself, right? Like, what do I know about, what do I need to know about being fair to myself in these situations, right? What is my understanding of fairness in this situation? So if you're using it as a situation based, what is it about fair justice that I need to know, right? Because I think that's the other thing, is fair is not necessarily just. And so it's important to be able to look at, what is it that I need to know about the justice in this situation? How can I disconnect from my biases so I can be more, fair in that sense, right? So the next one we have is confidence. What boosts my confidence? Again, we all know these things. Like when you're asking, like, what does this for me? We already know. We don't need somebody else to tell us, because for one, like the cards are a reflection of ourselves. So that's a bit different. But if you're asking somebody else, what makes me confident? They're not going to know. They're just going to see when you're confident, and you could be totally faking it. And so when you're looking at confidence, how can I build my self-confidence? What is a wound around my self-confidence that needs to be healed at this time? How can I open up to the abundance and the blessings of Jupiter so that I can become more confident in who I am, right? Those are all really great ways to look at it. Wisdom is the seventh one. And again, the same thing. It says, what gives me wisdom? And this is a way to, again, you can use similar construction to the confidence one. What is it that I need to do, or how will I go about embodying the wisdom that I have cultivated over my lifetime? What is my connection with wisdom? How am I blocking wisdom? How am I turning away from wisdom, right? Like a lot of different ways of looking at that connection. And then philosophy, this one was interesting because again, the question is, what is my philosophy? And I think we all have a personal philosophy, but it might be, this one is one, again, that you could easily just drop out and leave it out. Or you could be asking questions like, am I still in alignment with my personal philosophy? Is it time to revisit my philosophy? What are some of the things that are influencing my philosophy, right? And our philosophy and the way we live our lives, kind of, if you look at it that way, there's a lot of things that you could look at and say, like, am I in integrity? Am I am I aware of what it is that is guiding me, and how can I reconnect with my soul's curriculum or my inner guidance so that I am acting from that kind of higher place. So these are a lot of different ways that you can play around with a spread and make it yours, right? Like that's the important thing about a spread. It's the same thing about anything that you find online, right? Like it's important about making it yours. And whether it's online, whether it's in books or whatever, someone writing it, you know, unless you're taking it and claiming it as your own, you know, that's when you're falling into, you know, copyright and stuff like that. But something that's out there that's created is, to me, when you're looking at these spreads that are out there and they're created, they're meant for me to be an inspiration. You can give credit to the original creator, but when you take it and you change it and you add to it and you switch the flavor around of it, I think that's where the beauty is, because it's very much healing in order to be able to take a spread and make it ours, right? Like to take it and say, I need to know this about myself, but I don't really want to do this spread because I don't feel right about this question, or I don't understand how to use this question to based on the situation. So taking them and switching them around and playing with them, you know, that's the gift that we're given when they come across our lives, right? And so I hope that you enjoyed this little mini exploration, and that you'll come back next week to join me when we put this into practice and we do our first of the December variations of the Jupiter Blessing spread. And also I will put a link in here for last week's video where we did the original spread. So if you like the video, hit like, subscribe, and I will see you again next week. Take care.